Here's the fact. Not every pod needs to be 20 to 60 minutes long. So here you go. Here is a very short pod, hopefully giving you long-term advice, something that will never change. It's evergreen and everlasting. So make sure you tune in to hear what advice I have to give to you to help accelerate you in your business and hopefully give you some time back. Welcome to The Seed, cultivating growth and empowering women in business, brought to you by Dandelion-Inc. I'm your host, Lisa Resnick, and this podcast is all about connecting, developing, and supporting women in business. Join me as we explore tips and insights on leadership, business development, and social media strategies that can help you thrive. We'll also hear from amazing guests who share their stories and experiences, offering inspiration and practical advice for your entrepreneurial journey. So tune in, download, like, and subscribe. And remember, if you love what you hear, share it with others. Together, let's cultivate growth and empower women in business. Hey everyone, I promise this one is going to be a quick one, and I am going to apologize up front. Typically when I do these pods, I do create an outline for myself to make sure that I don't stray from the topic at hand. But you know what? This one's going to be short, it's going to be sweet, and I hope to get my point across by keeping it this way. So as you have seen on my social media, I have decided to take a step back from social media posting. I want to be clear that it's in regard to posting. I am, of course, still maintaining a presence, want to make sure that Dandelion members are elevated, who's joining Dandelion-Inc., the exciting things that they're still doing, events that are coming up, and that is it. That is what I'm going to focus on while I am reconfiguring and going through that time that we all need to do. And I've mentioned this in previous podcasts, taking that step back and reevaluating, reassessing, and re-strategizing. So that is what this podcast is going to be all about, because I think that we can all agree that social media is not doing for us what it used to do. So this is what has happened. Over the years, we have decided to really hone in on our marketing strategy, really focus in on social media. It probably has reduced some expenses for you when it comes to print, when it comes to media. So we really liked this mode because it did create such a sense of authenticity, of getting out there and people seeing you and seeing you real, whether it's your own personal brand or your business brand. But nowadays, it is not really working in our favor as much as it used to. So this pod is all about showing up and taking space. Do not just rely on posting on your social media accounts. This means carte blanche across the board. Do not just rely on posting on social media for that visibility. There are other ways in which you need to create space for yourself in order to get the ROI for your efforts. Because it's a lot of time. It is a hell of a lot of time. I looked and saw how much time I was spending on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest. Well, Pinterest I do enjoy because it's more of a search engine. So let's not include that into social media. But like looking at the hours spent on those platforms and realizing that I wasn't doing it the right way. And I knew it, but it was easy. I love creating content. I love being creative. So that is what I was doing when really I was hiding behind doing it that way for showing up in the rooms that I needed to show up. I equate posting on social media as attending a networking event and sitting in the back of the room and not really meeting new people. That's how I was using my social media platforms. So what you need to do when it comes to social media is show up in those groups that are there on all the platforms. Use direct messaging, use social media in your favor, as if you're attending the networking events and actually getting up and introducing yourself to a person, to a group of people. That is how social media needs to be utilized. Because if you're just posting and that's the only thing that you're doing, then you're pretty much that person in the back of the room who is signed up, paid the money to attend the event, and is not interacting with all the other attendees. So you need to show up in social media in that capacity. And you also need to actually make those one-on-one connections. You need to show up at other networking events that are in person. Talk about your business, talk about yourself, say the reason why you are doing what you're doing, the passion, the drive, all the fun things that makes you love what you're doing. That's what you need to talk about. You need to get yourself out there. You need to ask, hey, I would love to speak at that event. It completely aligns with my brand, my mission, and the impact that I want to make. So you need to make those calls, make those asks. The worst thing that could be said to you is, no, thank you, maybe next year, right now is not the time, whatever it may be. Who cares? So what if they say no? I'm sure we have all been rejected, and we have all faced those people who have said, nope, not for me. How many times that it really shouldn't hit us so hard that we allow it to hit us that way, that it prevents us from asking those questions to be in those rooms. So ask the questions. Say, hey, I would love to be on that panel. I would love to be a speaker. I would love to attend that event. And mingle, be part of the event, not the bystander. You need to get out there and you need to start networking and being in the room. Show up for the brunch with the ladies. Show up for the bourbon and cigars. Whatever it is that you find your interest is in, show up for those things, because then you'll find that you will have more of an impact, and you will create more of a visibility and more of awareness and an understanding of everything that you're doing, because you are there in the room taking up space. So that's pretty much all this podcast is about, is taking up the space so you could personify, exemplify everything that you are and your business is, and let people become more aware of the impact that you are making with your brand. So show up on social media in a different way than just posting, because that's not the only way that it's going to work. 2, actually show up in in-person events. Show up virtual events. They now have virtual events. I do virtual events for people to attend as well. So make sure you are showing up, taking the time. I know that it is difficult, and we automatically go to I don't have time for that, so I can't be there. I will say half the time you do. You do have the time to show up and be there. You just need to go back and see where all your time is being spent. And again, when I looked at how much time I was spending just posting on social media platforms, I just gave myself 15 hours back during the week. I have 15 hours that I can now show up in the groups on these platforms. I can start direct messaging people more often to invite them and to include them in Dandelion-Inc. And I have the time now to show up at other events virtually and in person to make people more aware and start taking up that space that is needed. So I hope this podcast resonates with you all. Even if you include one additional thing a week, then I know that you are doing something that is going to have a higher return for your brand and your mission. So I hope you all have a great day. If you liked this podcast and you thought that it was really good advice, please share it, like it, and I will talk to you again next week. Thank you, everyone, for listening in to The Seed. If you'd like to receive our weekly newsletter, go to Dandelion-Inc.com and click Let's Connect. And please be sure to subscribe to The Seeds podcast to hear more inspiring stories from other badass women that are all around us. Remember, behind every woman is a tribe of other successful women who have their back. To you all, thank you.